Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. It's Aquasbane, covering all manner of tabletop gaming. Please take a moment to like, subscribe, and add comments. It would really help me out. And with that, let us begin. Okay, in this video, we shall be taking a look at and using to create a mini campaign, a rather neat little supplement from awkwardturtle Games. Yep, the creators of Wallet Dungeons and Wallet Stations were kind enough to send me a physical copy of this nice little supplement. And here it is. Not a Place of Honor, the Bureau for Arcane Neutralization of Esoterics, or Bane. Yeah, many thanks to David Lombardo at awkwardturtle for sending me this. It's 36 pages, so it's not a huge book, but it is full of very interesting game material, and the artwork inside is very, I don't know, it seems to fit very nicely the theme in which the game was actually presented and designed. I think a lot of the interior art was by Emmanuel Melo, I think his name is. But yeah, you can find this on itch.io for, I think, $7 for the PDF. I'll put the link in the description below. And on that itch page, it also has links for you to find physical copies like this one. What do you get for that $7? Well, you get the 36-page PDF, the book, which covers 8, what do they call them? Catastrophic magical artifacts. But there's also tables to kind of generate the storage sites or the containment facilities for these artifacts. You also get printer-friendly, like player handouts, I suppose you would call them. So you get one of these for each of the artifacts as well, plus some other print-friendly elements of the book. You get a text-only EPUB copy, and also you get a soundtrack. If I remember correctly, I think there are four pieces of music that you get for free with this game that are supposed to follow your journey into the center of the site, of the facility that has this artifact. Right, let's quote from the itch.io page, and let me give you the designer's description. Right, here we go. Not a Place of Honor, NAPOH, yeah, N-A-P-O-H, is a found footage style account of ancient storage facilities for apocalyptic magical artifacts. One part SCP Foundation and one part nuclear waste containment, told through the journals of the enigmatic archivist and government documents. Not a Place of Honor presents both dangerous artifacts and the means to keep them safe. The magical artifact storage sites and information levels are designed using the guidelines laid out by real-life government researchers studying how to keep nuclear waste storage sites untouched for thousands of years. And yes, David did actually tell me that a lot of the information behind this, a lot of the inspiration behind this, in terms of the containment sites, is actually based on a government document. I think he sent me the link, where it goes over how they're going to protect and sort of hide and store nuclear waste storage sites. So he's using that as inspiration for the storage sites of apocalyptic magical artifacts. Right, now this supplement is, I think, probably best suited to a modern setting, role-playing game such as Delta Green, or maybe one of the Worlds of Darkness RPGs like Vampire the Masquerade, or maybe Werewolf the Apocalypse. I can definitely see this being used in Werewolf. But I think with a little bit of work, not a lot of work, but a little bit of work, it could be applied to post-apocalyptic, science fiction, and maybe with a little bit more work, a fantasy setting as well. And as I will be showing soon in the video, in a minute, the basis for a tabletop miniatures game mini campaign. Yes, I am in the process of doing a tabletop campaign for Battlerune. It's a game in alpha. It's currently in alpha by Archvillain Games. And I'm thinking, well, I'm not thinking, I am going to be using this to create a mini campaign for that. That series will be coming very soon after this. Right, so in this game supplement, we are presented with 8 magical artifacts that are considered extremely dangerous, have considerable power, and present a possible global threat. I mean, you could, using the examples in the book, use, and also, like I say, use the tables at the back. You could actually create your own artifacts as well, sort of similar power, similar danger, to kind of suit your own campaign and games. Now, as well as the 8 provided artifacts, the sample artifacts, the book also describes how to create their ancient storage facilities, the places that hide, contain, and insulate their awesome power. So these sites have a series of structures. It's like you're going through different levels of, what would be the best word to use? Different levels of challenge or different levels of construction, location, in order to get to the artifact itself. Now, the way that the game has been written, the way that it's been designed, is that the structures or the areas that you pass through aren't necessarily dangerous. They're not going to hurt you, but there are things that you may have to pass, like I say, challenges. So there's a series of areas that you have to pass through, and these have increasingly complex and detailed information about what the site actually contains. Because, again, the game has been written as like a found footage, where it's supposed to be a compilation of official documents that people have put together, you know, kind of like treasure hunter kind of thing, yeah? So when you find the site, you may not know exactly what artifact is in there. So it could be rolled randomly at the end. So your party of characters or players could sort of fight their way, figure out their way to the artifact, and then, surprise, this is the one you find. So, like I say, every area that you pass through to get to the artifact containment area, like I say, it has more complex and detailed information as you get closer and closer. So level 1 information, which is what you find in the first area, is the simplest. It's the easiest to understand. It's more sort of pictures, diagrams, pictograms. When you sort of get right close to the containment center itself, you'll be getting what they call level 4 information, which is the most complex but contains more details. Each of the 8 artifacts does have, actually, let me show you the on here. So each of the artifacts, and again, these artifacts are in the book. It's this one. This is number 3, the Howling Seal. So in the book, it gives you some sort of narrative flavor, story text, but it also gives you the information that you can pass to your players, or if you're playing solo, obviously the information that you will unveil. Level 2, level 3, level 4. And yeah, on the handout, again, you've got the level 2, level 3, level 4 information here as well. So as you come to the site, you have to pass through 4 basic areas. I mean, they're not basic, but 4 areas to kind of get to the artifact. Now, the first area is called the approach, and that extends about half a mile in all directions from the center of the site. So you're essentially looking at around a mile of terrain, of area, and it's called the approach. Now, there are 3 types of approach, and they are described inside the book. So first of all, you have black hole, where basically this is an utterly black area that absorbs all light. There are surfaces which are cracked, irregular, some of them are angles. This is what they call the black hole approach. You then have rubble landscape, where the area is covered in, like I say, rubble, which makes it very difficult to walk, very, very difficult to run. So if you're going to have some kind of encounter or battle on this kind of landscape, I think the whole area would count as difficult terrain. And the third type of approach is what they call menacing earthworks, where you have these strange, like lightning-shaped structures radiating outwards from the center. So these are the 3 first areas. The first area, which is called the approach, these are the 3 possibilities. So for each of the artifacts, it doesn't tell you which of the approaches or which of the types of terrain are going to be there. For that one, you can select what you want, or you can roll randomly. Actually, let's go back here, because there is a kind of diagram here. Yeah, so the first area is what we call the approach. That's about half a mile from the center. Inside that is another area called the keep. Now, the keep is an area about a quarter mile on either side or around the center. And this keep is also a kind of, a kind of discouraging, difficult terrain in which to pass through. Now, the approach had level 1 information, the most basic information, pictures and diagrams. In the keep, you will find level 2 information. So it gets a little bit more information, a little bit more detail, a little bit more complex. So level 2 is given here, but still fairly simple, and it does contain warnings. Sort of stay away, keep away, danger, danger, Will Robinson, danger. But the keep also has 3 different types. Again, you can choose or you can roll randomly. First is the landscape of thorns. So as you can see here, it's not a very nice area. A dense and tangled mass of sharp thorns and spikes. Very difficult to move through. Second type of keep is called forbidding blocks. You have these huge slabs, or they kind of look cubic. I don't know whether they would be cubic maybe in your campaign. Maybe you would do them rectangular. But they do appear to be sort of cubic and huge structures. Whether this is in a straightforward layout or whether it is in the form of a maze could be up to you. If you want to challenge your players a little bit more, maybe have this as some form of maze. The third type of keep, that second area, is called the spike field. And as you can see here, fairly open, but you've got these huge spikes everywhere. And like I say, in the keep, in that second area, you can find level 2 information. Right, the third area, right at the center of that, you will have a small building known as the information center. Now, it doesn't have a big sign saying information center, but this is essentially the entrance. It's a small building placed slightly off-center, the keep area. In the center of this building is a large stone slab covering a shaft going down. And in the building, in that information center, you will find level 3 information. So information regarding this. And level 3 is kind of a bit of information about the artifact itself and some information about the containment, but just the basics. But again, there are lots of warnings. Do not proceed, stay away kind of thing. And then 4th is what they call the sarcophagus. Now, the sarcophagus is an underground complex. carved, and again I'm reading this from the thing, carved directly into the bedrock, accessed from that shaft from the information center. Now, that area can easily be created by all manner of dungeon generators or map makers. I think I'm probably going to use Wallet Station or Wallet Dungeon, because it's also by awkwardturtle. But yeah, it's basically like an underground complex, and again, depending on your setting, depending on your game, it could be a dungeon if it's fantasy. It could be something like a research facility, some kind of military installation, which is designed to protect the artifact and to keep people out, kind of thing, or to do research on the thing. But yeah, in this underground complex, you will find level 4 information, which is the most complex, the most detailed, but also the hardest to translate and understand. And again, for each of the artifacts, they give you the level 2, level 3, and level 4 info. Now, in the complex, there will be a chamber with another slab, another stone slab, which again leads to a shaft extending down. Donk, squeak, squeak. And there you will find the containment chamber of the artifact. Now, within the level 4 information, it does actually give details regarding what you're going to find down there. Trust me, it's not good. Right, now, let's get to the artifacts, because that's the key. That's the key to this. I mean, the containment facility, the site, of course, is going to be interesting, and you're going to have to, create your own area, create your approach, create the keep, and then of course create the sarcophagus, or this underground complex. But at the center of this will be the artifacts, and this is what your players are definitely going to be the most interested in. Now, in this book, you have 8 provided artifacts. You have the Malevolent Ring, you have, where is it? The Eternal Master, Howling Seal, the Knowing Sword, the Intrusive Mark, the Flowering Knife, the Fateful Bones, and the Prometheus Flame, or the Promethean Flame. So these are 8 artifacts that you can just plug and play into your campaign. But like I say, at the back, and using those examples, you can kind of create your own, if you want to. Now, each of these artifacts, let's use the handout, because it might be clearer. Now, this is actually the one that I'm going to be adapting for my campaign. So if you're going to be watching my videos on Battlerune coming soon, this is not going to be too much of a surprise for you. And I don't want to spoil too much by reading about all the different artifacts. So let's focus on one. Now, these artifacts, these details in the books, it's not a complete description. It's not complete information about these things. There's still elements that you can add, change, create, like I say, to fit your game or to fit what you want to do. But the basics are all here. You have a diagram of the artifact itself. You kind of have a little bit of information about how bad it is. And again, these pictures represent level 1. So again, for this one, you've got pictures to represent level 1. It's like, this is what's going to happen if you don't listen to us and go away. At the top here in the book, again, it's laid out differently in the book. Where is it? Level number 3. Here we go. So the layout of the book is actually as if it's made up. It's made up like a photocopy of various documents that you've put together on the photocopy machine to sort of get a quick copy of the information. And actually, the designer actually sent me a link. Again, I'll put it in the description, where on his blog he actually describes how he went about the design of the book there. But yeah, you have at the top here, you have what they call 3 designations. You have threat type, breakdown level, and primary failure mode. Now, these 3 designations basically give you a measure of how dangerous this thing is. Okay, so the threat type, which is the first designation, basically tells you what's the most likely cause of breakdown. Breakdown being the breach of containment, or where the artifact breaks loose or somebody steals the artifact. That kind of thing. Then we have breakdown level, which kind of gives you an idea of how large an area the artifact will threaten. It could be regional, it could be global, it could be existential. I mean, there are various levels. This one is regional, so it could potentially affect a county, a state. Yeah. And then the third designation is called primary failure mode, where it tells you what's the most likely route towards breakdown. It could be somebody attempting to use it, it could be containment measures failing, or it could be a mix of the two. Now, in this case here, the Howling Seal, the threat type is catalyst, which means the entity will cause a breakdown. It will cause lots and lots of evil, apocalyptic nastiness when it's used. And in terms of the failure mode, it's a mix. So maybe it will help aid people to break down the containment measures. So let's have a look here. Let's have a look at the information. So level 1 information for the Howling Seal. So again, they give you some sort of diagrams. Again, remember, level 1 is what you find in the approach, that first area, and it's simply pictures and diagrams to kind of give you an idea and to warn you what's going to happen. So you're given those there. It's not nice at all. Level 2 information is what you find within the keep area. And it's very simple information, fairly easy to translate. So here, level 2 information. Dangerous beings are imprisoned within this place. They purport to grant wishes, but bring chaos and destruction. They can do no harm as long as none attempt to free them. None are clever enough to outwit a legion of demons. So this item, this artifact, is basically some kind of storage or conduit for some kind of demonic jail or demonic dimension. And if you use it, you're basically going to let loose demons who say that they are going to do your bidding, but at the same time, I think they are going to eventually take over you. Like I say, there are 8 different artifacts with all their information provided. But like I say, you can still adapt and change those if you want to. Right. Oh, and like I mentioned, I don't think it's not on the handout, but in the book, you actually have like personal journals or personal sort of notes from the archivist or the people who are sort of finding this information. So you can also read these. Actually, what don't I know, for the Howling Seal. My first impression of the containment chamber was of constant clattering noise, amplified by the bowl-like shape of the room. The source of the noise are 7 skulls tucked into niches in the base of the dome, each moving as though speaking. A line of writing runs from each alcove and spirals up to the dome's zenith. Each word glowing in turn, along with the rhythm of the chattering skulls. I tried to trace a single path of the writing, but by some clever trick I found myself back where I started. The skulls ring a gold statue of a kingly figure with the Howling Seal strung around its neck. The seal's face is a complicated, twisting knot of lines, marred by a single large crack, cutting through the pattern. A note of some concern. None of the descriptions at this site makes any mention of the clearly visible damage. So yeah, in the book you've also got these little like personal notes and findings from the archivists, the people from before who may have found these sites or have been working with the government. Maybe one of the government agencies has been kind of trying to uncover and trying to break the seals or to find out the information. But like I say, when you get to level 4, when you get down to the sarcophagus or that underground complex, the information in terms of real sort of deep artifact details and the containment sort of information is not going to be easy for your characters or your players to figure out. I mean, here, the person may have made it into the containment chamber, but they don't know what the hell to do next. Very, very interesting. Now, I need to create a mini campaign for my upcoming Battlerune game. This is something which I'll be doing on my channel. In fact, I have already started. It's going to be a campaign featuring 50% scale miniatures from Archvillain Games, who are also the designers of this game. Now, this is currently in alpha, but I do have permission to do some games on the channel. And I have been busy printing and painting some miniatures. I do have videos for those on the channels. You can look at those if you're interested. But I do want to create, for that first Battlerune campaign, I do want to create the story or the sequence of battles or games based on this, not a place of honor. Now, the first game or the first battle in my case will establish the existence of this artifact. So I'll probably just do a basic or standard game of Battlerune. But after that, I'm going to have my games, my forces kind of fighting their way to get to the artifact. And again, once I've created the campaign, I will also develop a story, some narrative to explain why these battles are happening and what's going on around them. So I will be using this. And this is the artifact that I will be using as the basis for my campaign, the Howling Seal. That's why I'm showing you guys this, so it's not so much of a spoiler for the other ones. So I need to create the containment site. Like I say, the first battle is going to be me finding out about the site, maybe from the enemy that I'm fighting. Maybe they have information that there is a site or something. But now I need to actually create this containment site or this storage facility. So I'm going to roll for random approach, random keep, and then, not now, but later, I'll be creating the sarcophagus, the underground complex. I'll be using wallet dungeons. Let's just move the book out of the way so you can see. Wallet dungeons or possibly wallet stations, depending on how I think. Probably, actually, I think I might go sci-fi. Maybe. Because the dungeons could... Actually, let's get the bigger ones, because you might be able to see the bigger ones a little bit better. Here we go. There you go. This is the actual size of the wallet dungeons and stations. These are ones I printed out for the videos, because they're bigger. So yeah, depending on the setting of your game, possibly even how old the containment center is, you could use wallet dungeons, or, like I mentioned now, you could use wallet stations, which is the sci-fi version. So I'm going to be using these later on to actually create the underground complex or the sarcophagus. And the campaign story and narrative, I'm going to write off camera. But the essential details I need to work out first. So first of all, I want to determine what type of approach, and so this is going to be like the first area that we battle over, the first area that we come to. Then there'll be the keep, which will be the next area that we fight, and then the information center, which leads down to the complex. So I'm thinking possibly 4 or 5 games. Let's do this first. So what I'm going to do for the approach, there are three possibilities you've got. Again, sorry about the shine. It's a very glossy paper. The approach, there are 3 types: 1 black hole, 2 rubble, and 3 earthwork. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we roll and we get a 1. It's the black hole, right? So I've got to figure out for the second game, I've got to figure out how to represent that completely black, light-consuming landscape. Okay. For the keep, again, there are 3 types: landscape of thorns, forbidding blocks, or spikes. So I'm going to roll again. 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Forbidding blocks. Okay. So for my campaign, I'm going to have the black hole approach. Let's have a read. From a distance, this approach appears to be a great void, an absence rather than a presence. Closer inspection reveals the black hole as a flat, hard substance that seems to absorb all light that tries to illuminate it. A huge amount of absorbed heat radiates off of it during the day and even a considerable time into the night. Okay, again, this is reading as from somebody's perspective. Without my thick-soled boots, I'd be worried about scorching my feet. The surface is cracked into large irregular pieces, each tipped at slight angles. Going to replicate that somehow. Okay. This has kept the sand and dirt from settling, except in the grooves carved into the outermost tiles, which depict level 1 information. All right, so I've got to try and figure out some way of doing a very uneven, sort of cracked, irregular pieces, totally black battlefield. Okay. The second area we rolled was for the keep. Forbidding blocks. So we've got these large blocks, which is going to play havoc with line of sight, isn't it? Right, what do we got here? Forbidding blocks. Walking through the narrow paths of this keep is like visiting the most cramped and claustrophobic city you can imagine. Right, so I don't think there's going to be much space between the blocks, but obviously there has to be enough space for my miniatures to move through. Okay. Each building, if they could be called so, is an irregular square or cube, maybe 25 feet per side. Not sure how accurate I'm going to be in terms of scaling the cubes to the miniatures, but I'll see what I can do. I might have to, for this particular game, I may have to do a top-down camera rather than from an angle. The structures are imprecise and rough, in direct contradiction of the massive undertaking I imagine moving these stones into place must have been. Many of the blocks have had level 2 information carved onto their sides, so the warnings are repeated over and over as I make my way towards the center. All right. Okay. So we've got forbidding blocks and black hole. Okay. When we get to the center, the information center, the simple building, I can just do whatever I want for that, and then the sarcophagus will be wallet dungeoned or wallet stationed. Okay, so that's the essential details done. So we're looking at campaign game 1 will be a standard Battlerune game, possibly 15 shards. So small skirmish size. Game 2 is going to be at the approach, the first area, and that's going to be with the black hole terrain. I'm thinking again possibly 15 shards, so again a small skirmish game. Game 3 will take place in the keep, that second area, which is going to be around the blocks. Now, I was thinking of doing this as a larger game, 25 shards, which would be a battle size with more figures. But I'm thinking that maybe I will switch. So maybe this one, because of the blocks and the cramped area, maybe this will be 15 shards skirmish size. And then maybe the approach will be a larger game, 25 shards. I'm thinking that. So I'm thinking game 2, I'll change it from a skirmish to a battle. And then game 3, which I was planning to be a larger battle, I'll keep as a skirmish, just purely because of the terrain. Now, at the center of the keep is where we have that information center, that small building that's the entrance. So I'm thinking either at the center of the battlefield or on one side of the battlefield, when I do this, will be the information center. Right, game 4 will be in the underground complex, the sarcophagus. So for that will be either a dungeon or some kind of interior game with, corridors and rooms and whatever. So that one, Again, maybe a skirmish, maybe a 15-shard game. And then for the final game, game 5, I think will be the boss battle. I think we'll be in the containment area, the containment room, and where this... Oh, I forget the name of the one I'm using. What's the one I'm using? The Howling Seal. Maybe the enemy that I'm fighting has managed to get there before me and has actually unleashed the demons. That's the plan, I'm thinking. So that one I'm thinking will be a bigger battle, maybe 25 shards. That's the plan, but we'll have to see how it goes. Things can change as I design it, but we have the basic information now, and I am going to be using this as the focus for that campaign. Keep an eye on the channel. Videos will be uploaded on that game fairly soon. Right, so that is No Place for Honor, a small but useful supplement for role-playing games, but can be used, like a lot of things, can be used for all manner of different game types. Now, as a games master or dungeon master, do not, and I repeat, do not let your players get hold of these artifacts. Say goodbye to your game world, your carefully crafted, your hours of detailing and designing and learning your game world. Say goodbye to all that if your players get hold of any of these artifacts. It's all about containment and denial. Do not let your players get hold of these. But yeah, definitely worth a look. And like I say, I'll be using this in my game. Now, the product, as I mentioned before, can be found on itch.io. Link is in the description. And I do think that this is going to be another interesting supplement to add to your gaming pile. And if you enjoy my channel and the videos that I create, please consider liking the video and subscribing to the channel. Add comments if you please. They always help the YouTube algorithm finding my stuff. And ring the bell to be notified of future uploads. So guys, thank you very much for watching. Until the next video, stay safe, take care, cheers.